This is the ultimate in ultimate, the UPA National Collegiate Championship match. Tiny Carleton College has a huge reputation in the sport, and the 8-seeded women's team didn't disappoint, taking out defending national champion Stanford in an emotional 15-13 semifinal victory. The Syzygy will take on number 3 seed Cal Davis after a come-from-behind win over top-seeded UC San Diego. Who's the best in the land? Find out next. We have traveled just north of Seattle to the scenic environs of the Pacific Northwest, Marysville, Washington, and Tomahawks Field, the site of the women's final of the 2004 UPA College Ultimate Championships. Hi everybody, Craig Hummer along with Ben Wiggins, and Ben, both of these teams, it's an understatement to say they want this badly.
Davis brings a large group of skilled role players, each filling their individual niche on the team. They're ready to win this game. And Carleton brings a tall, athletic, well-conditioned squad to this contest. Both teams are going to be going right at each other from the start.
7 members per squad, 70 yards long is the field. You make it in the opponent's end zone, you score a point.
There's no running with the disc, Craig, and everything is self-officiated. Players have to make their own calls.
That's self-officiating, also referred to as spirit of the game. Right now, let's hear from the coaches and who they think will make an impact.
Hi, I'm Alicia Barr, the coach of the UC Davis Pleiades, and 2 of the players to watch today are number 11, Julie Baker. She'll be handling the disc a lot, making a lot of great plays for us, and number 17, Danielle Manning. She'll be one of our big receivers, and she's going to be one of our tough defensive matchups for them to guard.
I'm Phil Bowen, the coach of Carleton College Women's Ultimate Team, Syzygy. Today in finals, we want to be looking out for number 25, Miranda Roth. She's a senior, and she's going to get it done in her last college game. You want to be looking for number 44, Maria Grigorieva. She's going to put the disc to Miranda every time.
Taking a look at those starting lineups, Ben, Carleton College, you heard Phil Bowen. The 2 he mentioned are definitely starting right there.
Yeah, Carleton's going to have to rely on their experience to move the disc around and stay unpredictable, not just go through Miranda. For Davis, they're going to have to rely on, particularly on Babineau, to guard taller players and stay with Carleton in the air. Keys to the match for this game, for Carleton, they need to limit Julie Baker's touches. When she touches the disc, she's too hard to stop. They need to keep it out of her hands. And for Davis, they need to take the pressure off of Miranda by getting around the wings.
Capacity crowd braving this rain. As in football, a kickoff. In ultimate, it's called a pull. That is Davis sending it down. Carleton in green will start on offense.
Davis, just like we saw at the end of the semis yesterday, is coming straight out in his zone. They should know from their scouting report that Stanford's zone gave Carleton a lot of trouble.
Right here we see a call already, something to talk about, spirit of the game, where it is self-officiated, as you mentioned.
Yeah, Miranda just called a simple foul. Players are going to come back and replay it as if the foul did not happen.
A dump behind right there. Games are to 15. You must win by 2.
Carleton going backwards right now. They're not getting a very cohesive attack. They need to move the disc a little bit more. Right now they're just standing and faking.
Chrissy Lee trying to get rid of the disc. You saw her, she had a little trouble there. You only have 10 seconds to get it out of your hands. And a bad pass right there. A quick chance for UC Davis to get on the board. They go on offense. Oh, great job by Miranda Roth to jump in front of that one, and she hucks it downfield.
She misses her mark down there, but you know that she's anticipating that Julie Baker wants to throw to the end zone every time. Miranda did a nice job to save him there.
Talk a little bit about how in this torrential downpour, what it does to the disc, what you have to do differently.
Some throws are more difficult, especially forehand, which has smaller points of contact on the disc, so less friction definitely affects it. Oh, there, Maria picks one off. They've got an instant D right on the goal line.
A chance for Carleton to get on the board first. Something they wanted to do. Chrissy Lee, number 27, puts it in there. Oh, and perhaps because of the rain, unable to hold on, and Barry just couldn't keep it in her grasp.
Definitely, Craig. She might have wanted to go down and take a sliding catch on that one and make sure either way it was going to be a tough grab.
Julie Baker for Davis right there, and again, a great defensive effort, just jumping right in front of the disc, batting it down. Another turnover for Davis.
Lee again right on the end zone. She's got to make this easy for a receiver.
A flick up and a score. Grigorieva, usually one to handle it, pulls it down for the point. Carleton scores.
The Carleton handler with 2 Ds on that point, both by anticipating short throws.
Chrissy Lee, it was a backhand, just lofted it up there. Grigorieva pulls it down.
Carleton on defense now. You saw that they were able to pin Davis back. They're going to try to do the same thing. Probably going to come out in that same zone. It was so effective.
There you see it, rolling down. Not a great pull for Carleton.
And they are in that 3-person zone. They're going to force Davis to go around the sides.
Ryan Schneider sends it back into the center with Julie Baker.
One of the goals of this zone is to keep a cohesive middle or cup so that they force all the throws around the side. They don't want to allow anything to get behind the front 3 players, as that will allow Davis to chew up a lot of yards and get on a run.
Sending it back across. Baker sends it again over to the side. Patiglio has it. Able to continue to work it around. Finally some forward movement, but not much. Great job by Carleton on this D.
Davis seems very patient. They're going to wait for their opportunity. In these elements, though, at some point they're going to have to go downfield because you know you can't throw it around forever without a mistake.
Baker to Patiglio. Patiglio back across. Ryan Schneider. Somewhat of like a mid-range huck, but Chrissy Lee just bats it down. Carleton gets it again.
She looks like she was trying to go for the middle area behind the back 3 and in front of the deep player. She wasn't able to get it around Lee, though. Lee with some nice anticipation.
All these experienced players able to handle whatever the weather conditions may be. A chance for Carleton to go up by 2 now.
Down
into the
line
corner.
In the end zone.
Once again, Carleton scores. Jill Bingham, the senior, makes it 2-0.
They looked fairly efficient against that zone, but they were going with the wind and on a short field. If they can do that the rest of the game against zone defenses, they're going to make UC Davis play person to person, which they don't want to do.
Strategy-wise, Carleton, everything going right for them. UC Davis, they better regroup. They're down by 2 early on. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the UPA College Ultimate Championships here at Tomahawks Field in Marysville, Washington. Craig Hummer along with Ben Wiggins. 2 early points by Carleton, the number 8 seed in this tournament, and they have Davis on their heels. UC Davis down by 2 early on, and Coach Alicia Barr of Davis wants them to make something happen here, Ben.
Yeah, you can see that the weather's abated a little bit, so the zone defense has got a little bit less of a natural advantage. Davis is going to come right down the middle with Julie Baker as much as they can.
Baker, the handler, the offense runs through her much like a point guard in basketball.
Nice through the cup throw. Hit exactly the spot she wanted, able to get it behind the cup and run about 15 yards.
You mentioned at the top of the show there's no running allowed, but you are allowed to just get your momentum and to stop within a reasonable distance, aren't you, once you catch the disc?
You get as many steps as it takes to stop, or you can throw within the first 3 steps as long as you go in one single direction.
Bloomquist going for the end zone. Lori Kramer toes it in. Davis on the board.
Nice zone point for Davis. Every single player on the field touched the disc. They spread it around well. Tough to stop that.
Lori Kramer, the sophomore, out of Oakland, California, just gets her feet in before falling back over the end line. Good for the point. Closes Davis to within 1. They now have the pull.
Craig, in that semi yesterday, we saw that Kramer's much of an end zone cutter. She really doesn't touch the disc many other places on the field, but she's effective at getting open in that small space.
On the throw out of bounds there on the pull, what happens?
They're going to bring it to the brick mark, which is 20 yards from the goal line in the middle of the field. It's a nice place to start your offense from.
Carleton tries to huck it down with a nice little forehand flick. It doesn't work, so Julie Baker, number 11 for Davis, will pick up the disc, and they will go on offense.
Patiglio was a recipient of a nice help D as they split the back of the stack and took directions instead of players. Looks like Julie Baker's hurt on this.
Not happy at all. She thought there was some extra contact after she caught the disc, but she's up and ready to go.
It's going to take a little bit more than that to stop her. Great mark on the disc, staying low, forcing her to throw wide.
Baker sends it down once again. Can they grab it? Absolutely. Patiglio in the end zone, stretches out for it, and we are tied.
Makes a nice basket catch, dives for the disc. Even though she probably could have gotten a hand on it while running, she wanted to make sure get this point.
The rain falling again, and you can't be too sure, can you? If you can pull it into your body and make sure you hold on to it, you're going to do it. Once again, Julie Baker will pull the disc, leaving Carleton on offense. And it's probably the rain, isn't it? Because all the pulls we've seen have been short.
That's right. Carleton's coming down in a spread offense. They've got a horizontal stack lined up across the field to create spaces deep and in for their cutters.
Grigorieva to Lee to Roth. Roth tries to send it down. Nobody's open, and there's no call.
Tail edge of that disc got pushed down a little bit by the wind. That's a tough throw. She'll be able to make that later in the game, but as wet as it is right now, they might want to look for something in a little bit more.
Baker has it. Off to Patiglio. Oh, for a second there, Ben, it really looked like she wanted to go downfield.
She's left without help now, and the help comes late and drops it. That's a quick turn for Carleton.
Phil Bowen quickly shouting instructions in because this is an opportunity right here for another quick point. They're close to the end zone.
Grigorieva's got it. She's their best handler. Now off to Chrissy Lee.
Remember, only 10 seconds you're allowed to hang on to it. You must release the disc in that time. Stall count. And there they do it. They find the superstar, Miranda Roth, in the end zone. Good for a 3-2 lead.
2 break marks in a row. They're going around the mark or on the inside-out lane to try to get past those defenders.
Roth, considered one of the best players in the country, and she shows why right here.
Many top players just play handler and stay behind the disc, only throwing. She makes her team more effective by both cutting and throwing the disc.
Some may consider her one of the best. This year, the players voted her the best, a Callahan Award winner.
I've actually taken it to be more of a focus on playing as a team for me, and I think it's worked out really well because now we play really well as a team together, and I feel like my teammates have been better because of it, and they've stepped it up. They've played hard against me in practice, made me a better player, and I hope to have made them better players too.
Miranda's such a great superstar. She's the kind that knows that she relies on her teammates just as much as they rely on her.
And Miranda's helped Carleton to an early lead.
So we do not get beaten around, and
welcome back to the 2004 UPA College Ultimate Championship Women's Final at Tomahawks Field. While we were away, Ben, a lot of points were put up on the board.
Julie Baker is starting to assert herself throwing. There's one to Patiglio deep, and then on the next point, she's going to pick out Danny Manning on an inside out. That's a great low throw. Few players in the world can throw that.
Manning comes down with it. Ryman Schneider would get a chance right here to get in the groove. They're up 5-3.
Hard-charging Miranda Roth makes that difficult pass. And then on the next point, Grigorieva to Roth, easy goal.
Davis would come back, a spectacular grab by Ryman Schneider just in the end zone.
Davis has started to open up a lead now. They're back on defense. Let's see how that zone treats Carleton again.
6-4, Davis up by 2, Carleton with the disc.
Davis has come out in a transition zone. They've gone from a zone defense to a person-to-person defense, trying to match up downfield and outrun the offensive players.
In sharp contrast to the rain showers early. Oh, the sun agrees with Carleton. Carol Marlett right there pulls it down, brings Carleton back within 1.
Nice spread offense. You can see they had good space, no other defenders in the way to bother this cut. As Miranda has the disc just outside the end zone, both defenders have to react to that break side throw because it's such a short, easy break throw. They give up the live side instead.
A lot of school pride on the line today, but ask around. There's a lot of pride as to where you can find the best ultimate. Let's ask the players.
UC Davis is the ultimate because we have nice green fields, great weather to play ultimate, and the best girls in the nation.
Everything's bigger in Texas. The love's bigger, the friendship's bigger, the team spirit, the respect, the pride, and that just makes us the best.
It's really fun. It's really open-minded. Nothing can really surprise you there. And I think that our team really embodies that feel of the town, like really eclectic, really kind of out there, and really fun to be.
For us as an ultimate, there's a huge ultimate community, and we pull our resources all the time. We have people come in and help us out. So that has definitely helped us to become the team that we are today.
It's really into ultimate. You know, they advertise how many frisbees per capita and all of the incoming freshman brochures and things like that.
Virginia is the ultimate because over the past 5 years we've come from a nothing team to a team that's ranked 5th going into nationals. We have such a great record. We're undefeated headed into nationals. And so it went from a team of about 8 players that picked up together to go to a few tournaments to a really serious competitive ultimate program just in the last 5 years.
Lots of great places to play ultimate. Too bad they're all second to Oregon.
No bias there, partner. 6-5, Davis. Carleton with the pull. Nice little roller. Davis picks it up.
Starting with Babineau over to Baker. They're again facing the zone. You can see that Carleton has very tall players up in the cup. Most teams put quick, small players up there to really try to move on the mark. Carleton likes to have height and long arms in there to try to bother those throws. Not bothering that one by Baker, though.
Baker went over the top to Babineau on that last one. Now Baker goes along the opposite side over to Patiglio. Baker there in the center, back to Babineau.
Davis is playing very attractive ultimate right now. They're really spreading it around, getting everybody involved, just playing catch.
Patiglio again wanted to go long, but she just dumps it back. One of the better possessions for Davis, able to just continually chip away and move it up ever so slowly. Oh, great recovery by Baker right there. Over the top again.
Nice catch made downfield by Bloomquist. Carleton's going to have to change something if they want to get a player near getting a block.
Patiglio pulls that one out of the grass, and there it is. Great advancement. It ends with Ryman Schneider jumping into the end zone. A point to increase the lead yet again.
A couple of nice catches kept this one alive, but in reality, Davis was all alone and didn't have a ton of defensive pressure on that point.
Things working well for UC Davis at this point. 7-5, a 2-point lead, and a dominance that perhaps is not on the statistics. We'll come back after this. Welcome back to Tomahawks Field in Marysville, Washington, the site of the women's final of the 2004 UPA College Ultimate Championship game between Carleton College and UC Davis. Davis at the moment with a 2-point lead. Craig Hummer along with Ben Wiggins, and Ben, so far, Davis has been able to move the disc almost at will.
Their defensive team has really moved it nicely, in part because they've got Julie Baker, an offensive star, playing with the defensive squad. Usually during tournaments, teams will rest their best offensive player for defense, but in a one-day, one-game format, you can play people a lot more.
For Carleton College, Miranda Roth certainly has been a force to be reckoned with, as has Grigorieva right now, once again, trying to move that disc forward. Chrissy Lee there, trying to find an outlet.
Against this zone, they're trying to look over the top, and right here, Grigoriev is going deep. Danielle Manning comes along and cleans it up.
It's hard to go around Danielle Manning, always a presence on the field. Baker right there goes across, a bad toss. That's going to give Carleton an opportunity.
That's the second swing pass they've thrown away on defensive possessions. Carleton really needs to punch this in to secure their offensive advantage.
And you just saw Phil Bowen saying just that. A quick point right there. They find Roth in the center. 7-6. Carleton down by 1.
Rock in a hard place there for the defense. They know Miranda's so fast that she can get to the live side, but Grigorieva's a great break mark thrower. Turns into an easy goal.
Bowen said that's what you're going to see all day long. Grigorieva to Roth. We saw it right there. Chrissy Lee with the pull.
That's a nice pull. Good hang time, giving her team enough of a gap so they can get down the field and cover it and not give up free yards.
Great defense right off the mark. They were able to break it though. Bloomquist now trying to, you can only hold on to it for 10 seconds. That stall count, that's the first time we've seen that, Ben.
That's exactly right. She was left without a couple options, and once the defender gets to 10, it's a turnover.
So just like that, a momentum swing for Carleton.
Davis in a short field zone.
Back to Lee. Lee again to Grigorieva.
Nice little gainer there. Babineau is jumping around the mark, trying to make it difficult. She might have smelled that that handler wasn't as confident with the disc, and she's going to go right at her, see if she can force a flustered turnover.
Chrissy Lee there for the dump. Up, and it hits the ground. That's going to go over to UC Davis on a turnover.
Babineau's hard work paying off. She really jumps around nicely on the mark, stays on the balls of her feet, and anticipates where the thrower wants to go.
Julie Baker with a nice forehand flick. Bloomquist puts it down, but she's just a little off. Patiglio can't get to it.
Sometimes downwind is the hardest way to throw, especially a pass that needs touch or delay to let the receiver catch up to it. At that point, a downwind throw is pushed down into the dirt by the wind. Turnover.
The huck by Grigorieva. Is anybody there? She went for Roth, but Danielle was right in the line. Danielle Manning with the stop.
Julie Baker's looking end zone, and there she is again. Danielle goes right to the back corner. She gets a nice throw. I bet you they've done that one before.
Goes from the defensive stop to the offensive score. Danielle Manning gets it in. So we go to halftime, 8-6. UC Davis up by 2. Coach Alicia Barr has to be happy with how her team's been playing.
You guys more of the same, huh? We're playing hot. Sideline is there. You know, it's loud up there. We need to just keep yelling at the stack, at the mark, at the cutters. We got to communicate. That's how we've gotten a lot of Ds. The prep is getting a lot of Ds because we've got the sideline talking to them. Not to mention they're just playing sick and getting hand blocks left and right. Nice work. Yeah.
Ready to get into the action? The Ultimate Players Association is the largest ultimate frisbee organization in the world. By joining the UPA, you're automatically subscribed to the sport's official magazine, packed with tons of incredible photos and ways to get the most out of your game. Visit www.upa.org to learn more and find out how to start playing in your community. We'll be back to Tomahawks Field for the second half of the women's final. Welcome back. About to begin the second half of the women's final here at Tomahawks Field. Carleton versus UC Davis. Craig Hummer along with Ben Wiggins. Ben, at halftime we saw the presentation of the 2004 Spirit Awards, and you actually are a former winner of this award, aren't you?
Yeah, with Oregon in 2001, we won the Spirit Award for a team, and for us then and for these ladies now, it's a nice tribute to teams and individuals that really work on their sportsmanship.
We talked to some of the competitors here about what Spirit of the Game means to them.
Playing with all your heart, but knowing that the other team is just an opponent, it's not an enemy. They're your friends on off the field and just opponents on the field.
It's all about respect, I think, and being able to play this game with a love for the game instead of just wanting to win.
It's basically an understanding between both teams to play with the best spirit and the best sportsmanship possible, and to respect the players and to not take advantage of them in any way.
It's a feeling when you step out into the field, knowing that everyone's here just to play their best, play great ultimate, and enjoy it. So Spirit of the Game is just competing hard, but competing fair, and what the game of ultimate's all about.
There's no referees, so you can't just flip out and go insane and have a big temper tantrum, because you're the person that's supposed to control yourself. You're supposed to know the rules and respect the other players and expect that they do the same thing to you.
It's a mutual respect for the other player that you're playing with. It's being able to play to your full potential and know that the other person is doing the same and they're not trying to cause you any harm in any way. They're playing their best without doing anything contrary to, like, I don't want to say the word cheating, but you know, they're doing everything and they're playing honest, and you know, if you get beat by them, you get beat by an honest player, and you can't accuse them of anything dirty because they have spirit.
Second half about to get underway. Davis up by 2, but Alicia Barr knows there's another half to go.
I told them to look out for these guys. They're known as a second half team, so we're going to have to step it up even more if we want to keep this lead and go all the way. We got to work on our upwind offense a little bit. Right now our defense is great. We just got to keep those legs running.
We've seen this not only in the semifinals, but all tournament. It's all about the legs, isn't it, right now, Ben? Trying to keep that fatigue at bay.
At the end of 3 days, you've run almost the equivalent of a marathon. These players need to be physically fit just to compete. They need to have the fast twitch, but the long endurance muscles are something they've worked on through months and months of training. We'll see who's worked hardest in this next half.
Offense working through Julie Baker once again. Davis trying to increase that lead. She dumps it back to Reimenschneider.
Looks like the Carleton zone has adjusted a little bit. They're a little bit wider, and they're coming out to try to make those swing passes more difficult, like that one.
Games are to 15. You must win by 2. Carleton has done a great job, as you were saying, Ben, of really forcing the disc backwards. That's the first forward movement they've had throughout this possession.
And there's a D. They came over and they tried to get a swing pass. They were able to pick one off. Julie Baker's getting up gimpy on that play.
Well, we've seen a lot of climactic changes here. It was raining hard early, now brilliant sunshine. Miranda Roth trying to make something happen. Chrissy Lee has it right now.
By running this zone defense on a short field, they expose themselves to short passes, but they also allow themselves to basically double team the best throwers. As Miranda gets it right here, she's staring at 3 defenders only assigned to her.
Back to Chrissy Lee, working it back around again, trying to find whatever angle they can exploit. This would be a big momentum swing if Carleton could close it to within 1.
The geometry is crucial here. They know that if they make one of these throws an inch too close, it's going to get picked off by a defender, but they still want to get every advantage they can.
Solid defense by UC Davis. Lee goes over the top to Roth. Roth right there, toe in by Bingham.
A change of direction, no look. She looked the defender down the line and threw back across her body without looking at her receiver. Nice job by the receiver to keep eye contact.
Chrissy Lee dishes it off. Roth brings it down, and then here's the backhand feed.
You can see that she just for a second looks to the line and draws number 37 to her right.
Jill Bingham, the senior from Norfolk, Virginia, brings him within 1. Roth with the pull.
Going downwind now, they're going to be able to pin the offense back. That's a huge pull from Miranda. Julie Baker fielding from within her own end zone.
Davis, a few quick releases.
Just there, Chucky, in. Yeah, so you are in line. Stay with it.
But Carleton, a good job to apply the pressure yet again.
You can see they've transitioned from that zone. Now they're picking players up, and they force a quick throw in transition. As they go from playing positions to playing people, the changing open spots on the field can confuse an offense. Miranda now being played as a handler.
Advance is right there, and we are tied.
Jill Bingham to Ann Murray.
Just like that, Bingham again.
Ann Berry with a superlative effort downfield to get away from a defender and time it so that she could present an open cut to a good throw right here. Miranda breaks through the cup. Easy cut to the corner.
Bingham with the assist, and Berry toes it in just inside. Good for a tie score. We are knotted at 8.
Decidedly pro-Carleton crowd. They're getting louder by the point.
They like what they've seen as the second half started. Carleton has come back with a fury. We'll be back with more. We're all tied up. Welcome back to the women's final of the 2004 UPA College Ultimate Championships. Craig Hummer along with Ben Wiggins. Ben, while we were away, the points were scored in bunches. First Davis scores 2, and then Carleton answers with 3 in a row.
The ebb and flow of this game is really fun to watch. You see Julie Baker there getting downfield, and then at the next point throwing one to Lindsay Remenschneider for a 2-point lead. But then right back, Carleton comes from Miranda Roth to Kara Marlett in the end zone, and then Jill Bingham gets up around Danielle Manning for a goal. That's a D point, and that'll take him back to tied. And on the next point, you can't say enough about Miranda Roth. Way out in front for the layout catch, straight to the disc, jumps up, and easy as that, all the way down the field to a wide open Michelle Blank. Miranda Roth is starting to take over.
If you're a Carleton fan, and there are a lot of them in the stands, that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see Miranda Roth start to dictate the pace of this game. All of a sudden, Carleton back out on top with a 1-point advantage, 11-10, and they have the pull.
Coming back downwind, they've got an advantage there. And they're going to try to get Davis to huck the disc to one of their bigger, taller defenders. See if they can pick off one of these long, difficult throws.
We've seen Julie Baker all day, haven't we, Ben? And here we see some discussion going on.
On this point, she was isolated without an out, and she got a foul call that was kind of a light foul on the mark, but a foul is a foul. She gets a new count.
Remenschneider really had to dig into the dirt to grab that one out, but she does. Baker here hucks it down. Great backhand. Is anybody there? Yes! Danielle Manning extends.
Really nice setup by Remenschneider to get Julie Baker on the dead side. But once again, you put it up and Danielle Manning is going to come down with it. Great run and great effort.
Here you see her running under it. It just lofts enough. There she slides in. The catch and the point. We're tied.
4 points left in this tournament to play. Both teams are getting tired. You can see the fatigue on their faces. They're still running hard, though. They're going to go right at each other till the very end.
Chrissy Lee dishes it out ever so quickly.
Davis back down in their zone. This is the defense they've relied on all tournament.
Grigorieva back to Lee. You see the 4-person cup there. Miranda Roth lets it go.
Miranda Roth's got Marlett deep.
Nope. Danielle right there. Danielle Manning bats it down.
As she has been all afternoon. She's big, strong, and even more so, she gets great reads on the disc. She knows exactly where to be to pick them off.
Baker with a nice forehand. Picked off by Babineau. Babineau's been quiet, but she always seems to find the people when she needs to.
Sarah Patiglio gets a layout catch for the goal. Or does she? It's coming back.
They're calling it back.
Looks like a travel call. Babineau took excessive steps, or more likely, she slid her pivot foot. So simple travel call. Right.
See it again.
She's going to extend on the fake, and then she's going to come back on the pivot. And you can see her left foot slide out just a little bit. Any bit is a travel, it's coming back.
And unlike basketball, a travel doesn't turn it over. You just redo the play. We're still at 11s. Davis with possession.
They're just outside the end zone. If they can get a break or a swing into space, they'll be able to get an easy goal.
Patiglio going for the end zone, but nobody there.
That's a poor choice, maybe fatigue induced. Usually when you come around to your forehand side, you want to load up a forehand so you can throw away from the defense and get that extra yard of separation. She comes around with a backhand and gives the defense an easier time at it, or in this case, forces her to throw high and wide.
There was no question she was going for Danielle Manning, just ran out of real estate. Grigorieva now pinned in the corner. Carleton has to move it out of there again. You only have 10 seconds to get rid of the disc.
She's got to get this disc swinging and moving, but you can tell all these handlers are zeroed in on where Miranda is. They want to get that disc to her. She's on the left sideline right now.
Grigorieva hucks it downfield.
Once again, Danielle Manning.
Bam! Puts it down on the ground. Turnover. Possession, UC Davis.
Right now the handlers are, Julie Davis is going for the end zone right off the bat in transition.
Oh, and she finds her. Danielle Manning is starting to exert her will on this Carleton squad. Carleton, not enough weapons in their arsenal at this point to deal with the one-woman wrecking crew that is Danielle Manning. She gives Davis a lead by 1. We'll be back. Welcome back once again to the women's final at Tomahawks Field, the 2004 UPA College Ultimate Championships. Before the break, we saw Danielle Manning have a huge play to give Davis a 1-point lead. We now see Julie Baker with the pull.
Sending it downfield. It looks like Davis is coming down in another zone defense. This is going to tend to tire out their cup players because they have to do all the running back and forth and contain the handlers, but it enables them to rest players like Julie Baker in the back.
Brittany Smith hucks it out and pulls it down. That is none other than Audrey Schultz.
Great catch, great deep look. That's a nicely conceived offensive play, and they go right at the end zone.
Audrey Schultz, the junior from Billings, Montana, getting up there from the Big Sky State. She skies big right there to bring home the point.
Hell yeah.
Carleton right back into it now. Here comes their defensive squad. Let's see what kind of defense they bring. Their bread and butter this tournament has been their person-to-person defense, but they may shift if they're afraid of Julie Baker's throws.
A multitude of lead changes, a number of ties in this game.
They're in a forehand person defense, and they get another drop from Baker.
You don't see that very often, do you? We saw it earlier when it was raining hard, but in a dry field, Baker usually perfect hands. If there was a Golden Glove award in Ultimate, she'd get it, that's for sure. Uncharacteristic drop.
It sure is, and when the fatigue starts to set in, you start making silly mistakes like that.
Grigorieva has to dump it from behind.
Miranda now back as a handler. They're moving around the field.
Back to Roth again.
4 players in front of Miranda trying to contain her throws. She's going to attack this defense. Now they shift the cup over to make them throw to anyone but her. Miranda surveys.
Well, you mentioned the fatigue. Early in the game, we saw Roth running downfield. Now, with the fatigue setting in, she becomes a handler where it becomes ever so important to hold on to the disc. Right there, Carleton unable to hold on. Davis takes control.
They throw a swing pass away on what was a big possession for them. Now they're staring at the same offense about 20 yards outside the field. Strip is called on the field. It just means that the defensive player knocked the disc out of the offensive player's hands. We come in on a reset.
Another 10 count. Remen Schneider gets rid of it, and a drop right there by Davis.
Both these teams are definitely start to feel it. They've had people on the field for 8-9 straight points. They're going to have to suck it up, maybe use some of their less experienced players who are fresher.
Grigorieva has it once again, back to Chrissy Lee.
Over to Barry in the corner, now Lee again. They're just going to move this defense back and forth until they can find an opening. They find it right through the middle. Now they've got Miranda, and she lofts one up for a receiver.
Are they there? Oh, and again, Danielle Manning just puts it down.
Poor throw by Miranda. She wanted to drive through it, and she leaned back as she threw. It's going to raise the disc, give Danielle Manning a chance at it.
Danielle Manning's like Shaq in the lane, just blocking anything that comes near her. Oh, she's possibly going to run into this one. She does.
Big collision on the catch, but no foul. Miranda made a great attempt, but Danielle Manning comes down with the disc.
Miranda Roth bounced off Danielle Manning like she weighed about half her size.
Carleton has really got to be disheartened. They had a couple of chances in the end zone, very close. Any one of those would be easy stick-ins for them if they weren't so tired.
You hear the coaches saying, that's Phil Bowen saying, game to 15. He knows the dire straits that his squad is in. Davis now leads by 1.
When we scrimmage each other, you know, divide our team in half, and we're still one of the better teams in the country. And so we have intense scrimmages in practice, and they've been working really hard. And it just, they're not stepping it up right now. They're just playing as hard as they've been playing all year.
The clouds have parted in Marysville, Washington. The women's final here at the 2004 UPA College Ultimate Championships. It'll be a cloudy day for one of these teams because only one can go home the victor. And at this point, UC Davis exerting control on Carleton. Of late, Davis has had the momentum.
Right now they're coming out in a person-to-person defense. They're forcing backhand right now. And what they're trying to do is outrun the offensive players downfield. Because they've been playing zone most of this game, several of their bigger players are more rested.
Phil Bowen, the coach of Carleton, trying to scream instructions from the sideline. He knows his ladies must answer with a point very soon. There we have Roth, a great forehand flick, but just nobody there, Ben.
Yeah, she puts this one out of bounds, trying to do a little bit too much. She had a cutter going to the very back of the end zone. That just would have had to have been perfect.
You could argue that the crowd is definitely pro-Carleton, but the faithful that are here to see UC Davis are getting quite a show.
Baker on the give and go. She's going to put it out in front. Picked off by Canner.
Canner has poached a few today. She's still got some great legs under her.
That's right. She's not typically a main handler for them, so she hasn't seen as much of the disc, but as the rest of the players start to get tired, she might need to handle more. Right now they are blanketing Miranda, trying to do anything they can to keep it out of her hands.
Pressure D, Bloomquist right there. You see Manning on the mark.
That's a great matchup because Manning's not afraid of Miranda going deep, and she can force her to come in and be ready for it.
Fantastic job by Barry to reach out for that one. Keeps it alive.
Now she needs a throw out. Still moving it around the field, looking for that attack angle.
Oh, and there was your miscue right there.
Just outside of the arms of Lee.
Julie Baker with the chance to advance it.
Now Ann Barry is on Julie Baker now. That might not be the matchup they would intend, but in transition they can't dictate those things. Julie Baker able to get the disc. She's got options in the break side. She needs to move the disc to the other side of the field.
Just able to keep it off of the ground. Davis sees it advance.
Kind of stuck, high the cut. A hammer.
Rare that we've seen him. Oh, and pulled down once again.
What a great shot. That's definitely the biggest completed hammer we've seen on the women's side all weekend.
Good for a 2-point lead. Here is another look.
You know, Craig, I haven't seen her throw a throw like that all weekend. Not even many break throws. And then all of a sudden in the final, she comes out with a 30-yard hammer. That's incredible.
Victoria Wilk with the hammer throw to Katja Bloomquist. Quite the combo. UC Davis, 1 point away from a national championship. The games are to 15. You must win by 2. UC Davis sits on 14, ever so close.
4-person cup. Miranda with the disc. She's back as a handler now. They're going to rely on her to move the disc using her break mark throws and maybe over the top of the cup.
Not only her throws, but her mental game is what they need right now.
This zone is tired. They can score. They just need to take their time and do it. If you're worried about how many throws you've already thrown, you're already beaten this game. Miranda with a nice blade over the top.
Trying to expose any weakness they can. Davis hasn't had many all day, but in these latter stages, starting to show that fatigue that always leads to mental mistakes.
They need to be really cognizant of the fact that even if they go over the top, they need to get yards after it. One throw is not going to be enough. They need people to run to that player and get more yards. Right there, they continue to work it down the field and makes a 20-yard gain instead of a 10.
Tries to pick it through, and again, just unable to handle it.
That throw surprised the cut, but it surprised the receiver too.
Julie Baker with the chance to close this out.
All the way down the field, Grigorieva is able to get in the way of it.
But they do advance Carleton, or I should say pin Carleton all the way back on their goal line, forcing them to go the length of the field if they want to even come within 1.
As much as their nerves are flaring right now and as tired as they are, it's almost an advantage to give the disc to the other team and put the pressure on them to work it. Davis can be aggressive now.
This is a sticky situation, isn't it? Carleton already in their end zone. If UC Davis bats it down or grabs it, it's a point.
They're just throwing it up. She got a nod from Miranda, and she's just tossing it up on the field. And Miranda comes down with it over Julie Baker on a layout. They got maybe 10 yards there, But what a huge save. That could be the game if Miranda saves him there.
Inside.
The athleticism of Miranda Roth can never be overstated. Chrissy Lee, Grigorieva.
Now, they were forced to punt about 3 throws ago. They need to recollect themselves and remember that they got here by being able to play smooth offense. Just work the disc up the field.
Well, you reacted. There you see it. A huck, and of course, Julie Baker brings it down. Here's a quick chance, a strike. Are they there?
It looks like Remmenschneider went up for it. Something's called here. We're going to have to see a replay of this to know what happened.
Interesting right now. We take another look. Does she have possession?
Looks like she's got the disc, and then it's pulled out by the defender, but what a bang play. There she's got it. There it comes out. The observer standing right next to the play, she's probably going to have to make this call.
Oh, there it is. Ben, the observers have made the call. It was a strip. It is official. UC Davis are the 2004 UPA Women's College National Champions.
15-12.
And on paper, Ben, Carleton was the number 8 seed, but they really came in here expecting to win this tournament, didn't they?
They sure did. They've been working all year with the idea that they could be national champions, and this loss hurts. They're really pumped up to try to win this game, especially to lose it how they did.
Coach Phil Bowen reiterates how they always thought they could win.
They never knew that they weren't going to win the game, and it just turned out that Davis had more today.
Reaction off of a turnover made the final point possible.
Someone got a D, or Julie or someone, and all I saw was just people running that way, and so I ran that way, and someone was following me, and I had a little bit of space on her, and we just both went up, but I think I had it before she got it, so it was great. It was awesome. I don't know. It was so much fun.
What's it feel like? Remmenschneider, one of those players that stepped up at the end of the game and made big plays for Davis. Truly a deserving champion.
Alicia Barr and her team take home their first national championship.
These guys, man, it's an awesome game all the way around. They fought so hard, they ran so hard, and it was amazing. Everything came together for us today. Thanks.
Smiles all around, Ben, and as you mentioned, it was the UC Davis squad that just was able to exert their will a little bit more towards the end of the game. That is oftentimes the difference of how you separate a champion from a runner-up. So it's UC Davis, the 2004 UPA National Women's Collegiate Champions. For more information on the Ultimate Players Association, go to www.upa.org and log on to collegesports.com, the ultimate destination for scores, news, highlights, and analysis. This has been a presentation of CSTV, College Sports Television, #1 in college sports. For Ben Wiggins, I'm Craig Hummer. We hope you've enjoyed the Nationals, everybody. So long from Seattle.